Hello, I'm Army Sergeant Ileana Meeker.
And I'm Army Sergeant Kathy Gonzalez, and this is the Flaming Blade magazine.
On this edition, we take a walk through military history with the 63rd Regional Support Command.
Joint services participate in Wild Boar 98, and military members enjoy a day at Knott's Berry Farm in honor of Veterans Day.
These stories and much more on the Flaming Blade magazine.
The 63rd RSC welcomed Major General John L. Scott as its new commander. New Army values and his soldiers' first approach are just some of the ways Major General Scott is improving the face of the 63rd. Army Sergeant James Blaine reports on the new arrival.
On a recent luncheon visit to the 372nd Military Intelligence Company, Major General John L. Scott took time out to speak with the Flaming Blade magazine on the importance of the future of the 63rd Regional Support Command, Army values, and soldier readiness.
The old idea of the weekend warrior, you know, we lost that about 5 years ago. We're really all in the Army, and we all are going to be expected, you know, to be part of the large Army, and they're going to call us, and we got to be ready to go.
General Scott believes that values taught at home and at school will better prepare young men and women for a career in the Army and Army Reserve.
There isn't a lot of values being taught outside of the Army. CNN is not the place to learn values. And we don't teach a lot of values in our schools anymore. You know, we've kind of taken the values out of the schools, and we said that's family business. But in the school that my wife teaches in, 60% of the kids are all single-parent families. I mean, they come from single-parent families. So I think in our families, you know, what we think, you know, a guy as old as I am thinks, you know, father knows best. You know, you got the mother, the father, and the kids all there. That's not reality. You know, reality is that we've got a lot of single-parent families, and people are struggling, you know, to make it. And then we've got a lot of dysfunction out there, and then we get these kids into the Army, and they don't have those values that the Army talks about. And we need to teach those values, and we need to show them that those are the things that count.
General Scott insists that the soldiers of the 63rd RSC are proven winners and are striving to be the best they can be.
The USARC and the commander has a lot of confidence in our soldiers, as I do, and I think we're doing real good. I think we got great soldiers. We just need a little more of us.
Under the guise of the Soldiers General, the future looks bright for the 63rd RSC. Reporting for the Flaming Blade magazine, I'm Army Sergeant James Blaine.
Army reservists, Marines, and members of the Chilean Air Force participated in the largest reserve medical exercise on the West Coast. As Army Sergeant Andy Yoshimura reports, Wild Boar 98 once again brings outstanding training to Central California.
Hundreds of reservists travel each year to Fort Hunter Liggett for their annual exercise. This week-long operation focuses on medical training and logistical support. Doctors and nurses cannot accomplish their missions by themselves. Transportation and air units provide movement for casualties, service members, and equipment throughout this vast area. Military police, signal, and quartermaster units provide basic support for the hospitals and mortuaries. Lieutenant Thomas Dunn of the 341st Military Police Company says this exercise has made his unit more prepared for future deployments.
Training has been fantastic for us because I have a bunch of new soldiers who are new to the unit and new to the United States Army, and they have gotten training that without the 91st Division and without the Wild Boar exercise, they probably would not get in an environment until they were mobilized for active duty. There's only so much training you can actually do during reserve weekend, and the training we've received out here has been absolutely fantastic. The missions that we're currently doing are missions that we would be doing in a combat environment or a operations other than war environment, such as Bosnia, Guatemala, Korea, things of that nature.
Water, food, and personal hygiene are all essential items for the medical units. Field hospitals participating in the exercise have full capability to treat any medical emergency, from bug bites to brain surgery. Reserve nurses and doctors can take care of soldiers and civilians. Senior nurse of the 1980th Medical Forward Surgical Team, Captain Lisa Boulay, says her unit's morale is excellent.
I just think that I am pleased to be working with this unit. I feel honored. We've got some motivated troops, and they're very willing to learn. They take every opportunity to learn both clinical skills and military skills.
With many units participating, this exercise has benefited the Army Reserve. As Wild Boar comes to a close, preparation for future exercises and deployments will continue. Central California will once again welcome the military back next year for Wild Boar 99. Reporting from Fort Hunter Liggett, I'm Sergeant Andy Yoshimura.
Curtis Thomas is coming to work. He's one of 787,000 soldiers in the Army. In a way, just a number. People measure armies in numbers, numbers of soldiers, numbers of cannon, tanks, numbers. But another way armies can be measured is by the values they embrace. Curtis Thomas is more than a number. He reflects a heritage that has been passed down from generation to generation. He is a thread in the fabric of values that makes up the whole cloth of the Army. A cloth woven from a sense of duty, commitment, loyalty, discipline, ability, stamina, Army values. It's said this place symbolizes those values. And the guardian of those values is the non-commissioned officer.
War reenactments and a variety of military displays drew crowds of visitors to this year's Marching Through History exposition in Orange County, California. Army Staff Sergeant Cheryl Weller has more.
What most of us know about military history, we learn from school books or from television. What if instead of imagining it, you could witness battles as they were fought? That might seem impossible, but at this year's Marching Through History, history came to life. Irvine Park in the city of Orange, California became a war zone. Union blue and Confederate gray met once again to battle to the finish. Sword-wielding soldiers on horseback charged into battle. The smell of gunpowder and smoke filled the air as cannons thundered, soldiers shouted, and the sound of gunfire echoed. Here, enthralled eyewitnesses caught a glimpse of what history books can only attempt to describe. The Veteran Services Organization of Orange County hosted this educational event, the largest military history exposition in the West. Reenactors dressed as soldiers from various historical battles ranging back to the colonial era stayed in character throughout the two-day event. Curious visitors saw historical artifacts and weaponry of the period at the various displays. World War II came to life here in a spectacular battle. Onlookers imagined themselves there in the action. Children were spellbound watching Allied forces wage a battle against World War II German soldiers. It was an exciting weekend where adults and children alike could learn about American military history up close. Lieutenant Colonel Roger Tierney, from Headquarters 63rd Regional Support Command, described the educational value of the experience.
The combination of the current and the past is fantastic because what this history is all about is living it. And if you see it in an encyclopedia or whatever, maybe see a program on TV, I don't think you get quite as much as appreciation.
The Marching Through Military History exposition showcased the U.S. military from its early colonial beginnings to today's world-class American soldiers. Reporting for the 222nd Broadcast Operations Detachment, I'm Army Staff Sergeant Cheryl Weller.
Army Sergeant Laura Corbin shows us how the 63rd RSC bridged the gap between the past and the present during the exposition.
This is our history, a colorful tradition of duty, of honor, and of sacrifice. During the Military History Exposition Marching Through History, soldiers from the 63rd Regional Support Command worked both behind the scenes, hauling in some of the heavy equipment used in this World War II reenactment, and in the foreground, playing the role they know best, that of the present-day soldier. Specialist R.J. Morris of the 163rd Ordnance Company showed off modern Army vehicles like the Hemet Wrecker and variable reach forklift.
It's kind of exciting to see the smiles on the kids' faces, even the adults, and get a chance to jump around and look at what we get to play with.
Soldiers from Headquarters Company spent the day playing with paint. Stroke by stroke, they turned the innocent faces of children into those of warriors. Warriors with a lot to smile about. Sergeant Christopher Dempsey of the 349th General Hospital also found that fun and education go hand in hand.
This has been a lot of fun because it's incorporating through history. Normally, a lot of the times we're just set up in a display of modern equipment, and so this has been educational for us also.
But the fun didn't end for the soldiers when the visitors went home. There was still plenty of packing to do.
Marching through history gave members of the 63rd Reserve Support Command an opportunity to show off their skills and equipment, as well as their place in over 2 centuries of American military history. From Orange, California, I'm Army Sergeant Laura Corbin.
Every month, nearly 300,000 Americans give up one of their weekends to fall in as soldiers in the U.S. Army Reserve. As a member of this dedicated group of men and women, you play an important role in our national defense. Army reservists come from a variety of backgrounds, racial, ethnic, social, and religious, and serve in more than 4,000 reserve units throughout the United States and Europe. As a reservist, you typically are required to spend 1 weekend a month and 2 consecutive weeks a year in training. In this short period of time, you also are expected to maintain the same standards of readiness as the active Army. At best, it's a difficult task. The 2 weeks annual training can take place as far away as Central America or other regions of the world where you one day could be deployed. So there can be no question that you play a critical role in our nation's defense. We count on you.
A former reserve training site in the hills of Palos Verdes has been converted. As Specialist Aaron Smith reports, the Fort MacArthur Museum houses many educational displays from World War II.
In the Palos Verdes Peninsula, among expensive real estate and gorgeous scenery, lies Fort MacArthur, camouflaged within the hills. Activated in the 1920s, Fort MacArthur was the site of various missions conducted by the U.S. Army, Reserve, and California National Guard. During World War II, the post was a major site to coastal defense artillery batteries. The director and historian of the Fort MacArthur Museum, Steve Nelson, says this post housed some of the most technologically advanced artillery batteries and units of its time.
And then all the way up through the Vietnam War, there were reserve activities taking place here at Fort MacArthur. In fact, we're told that Battery Osgood Farley was a reserve training center for a special forces unit that was stationed here. And this was the Jungle Warfare Training Center. Now, most of the jungle has been torn down, but that's what was here originally. So this has a very strong connection with reserve activities in Southern California.
Now a museum, visitors can walk through long, dark tunnels and observe pictures and equipment from World War II.
Ideally, this should be a history-based sort of a theme park, if you will, where people can come and learn about the coast defenses of Los Angeles and the nation at large.
Many people tour the historical post each year. Fort MacArthur is found off of Gaffey Street in the city of San Pedro. Reporting from the 302nd MPAD, I'm Specialist Aaron Smith.
Military members, along with their families, gathered at one of Southern California's favorite amusement parks to commemorate Veterans Day. Army Sergeant Andy Yoshimura tells us more.
Ready for some excitement? Or how about some family fun?
Oh, look at that.
Thousands of service members travel each year to celebrate America here at Knott's Berry Farm. During Veterans Day week, the theme park invites the military for a complimentary day of fun and frolic. For each free admission, military ID holders can bring a guest and 2 children under 12. Located next to the park is the Moving Wall. The wall is a half-scale version of Washington, D.C.'s Vietnam Memorial. Volunteers can locate a fallen hero's inscribed name for the public. Like in Washington, the wall is open 24 hours a day during the week's tribute. Veterans and speakers conduct ceremonies and special events throughout Veterans Day. Visitors can now pay their respect to the wall here in Southern California.
Some veterans bear visible signs of their service: a missing limb, a jagged scar, a certain look in the eye. Others, many carry the evidence inside them: a pin holding a bone together, a piece of shrapnel on the leg, or perhaps another sort of inner steel.
Now, in its 10th year of celebrating America's veterans, turnout of soldiers, Marines, sailors, and airmen is steadily improving.
We always enjoy this day. This is our 5th year coming, so we've been just making it a small tradition to come out.
We come out here because it was free, or
that's one of the reasons, but we make it a family outing, and it's our day to come out and enjoy the park and thank them for their support.
Even though parking and chow isn't free, Knott's Berry Farm is not charging for the memories of the companionship between the families and veterans. Reporting from Buena Park, California, I'm Sergeant Andy Yoshimura.
I'm Army Sergeant Kathy Gonzalez. For Army Sergeant Ileana Meeker and the rest of us here at the 222nd Broadcast Operations Detachment, happy holidays.